This week, the dads will virtually talk about nothing but VR, though they will take an interlude for a few kid stories and awarding a Gaming Dad Victory of the Week to a dad introducing his daughter to old school Mario. All on New Dad Gaming. The adult beverages are poured, the kids are asleep. Welcome to New Dad Gaming, a show about fatherhood, gaming, and new fathers figuring out their gaming lives. My name is Trevor, and I have a 3-month-old and a 2-year-old.
And I'm Jeff. I have a 7-year-old and a 4-year-old.
See, it's like, so he's 2.5, and that distinction feels important, but I didn't know whether to throw it in or not. as my continued torment over their ages as a recurring theme of this show, apparently.
Yeah, it's hard because I think that does signify some, like 2.5 is way over 2 years old in terms of like just mental, like stability and what they can do.
Yeah.
I remember my 2.5-year-old was crazy. He was telling me stories and babbling in his own little, language. Yeah,
it's definitely not English, but
no, yeah.
And even worse is that like he's. I've had a few moments of terror because my wife is Spanish, so like he's been learning English and Spanish at the same clip, and there's been a few times when I swear he's had a couple of Spanish words I didn't know. Like I'm trying to learn too, but there's just that moment of panic, like, oh God, it's happening. Like, he speaks in a language I don't know yet. Oh no,
we're already there. This wasn't supposed to be.
Not yet. Not now.
No.
That was an awful feeling, but yeah, but let's launch into it here to kick off the show. It's time for the Gaming Dad Victory of the Week in recognition of those who father and game so well. So this week's award goes to Reddit user Fallout Dad with a great example of the newer generation of games inspiring a family to revisit the classics. So in his post specifically, he details how his 6-year-old daughter and himself have just absolutely loved the Nintendo Switch, which really seems to be a recurring theme with fathers that we're seeing, where it's like that is the family console this generation by far. But very much they've just fallen for Mario, and one thing leads to another. It's like, you like Mario, like let's go back and see this. So they bust out the old NES, pop in the cartridges, and then they are playing these the old school, the originals, going right back to the old Mario stuff and playing it through. So, and as best as I can see, this is not the classic.
No,
like, this is the original gray box.
Well, kind of yellowy, but yeah.
Yeah. In that gray to yellow degradation that happens.
Yeah, no, that's amazing to have the old cartridges. You teach them the old, blow the cartridge trick when it doesn't work. Like, it's just passing on that knowledge.
There's just no chance that your PS4 is going to last 20 years.
No, it's really, it's not.
Like we're gonna go into like Fallout Dad as per his name. Like when the Fallout comes,
yeah,
that Nintendo's gonna be fine.
It'll be still kicking. Yeah, controllers, everything.
Does it need updates?
Yeah, exactly. Always online. Are you kidding me?
Oh man, yeah. The thought of trying to teach, I'd be curious about the learning curve. I mean, because the problem is like and for good reason. I mean, like what's been great is that we got rid of the old 3 life nonsense that used to exist solely because of arcade system that gets quarters.
Yeah.
First generation consoles, everybody remember they didn't get rid of it, so you had 3 lives for no good reason. At the time,
just to torment you. It's to torment you.
At the time, it felt totally logical. I remember like going up. It's like, oh, that's a difficulty, and now it's like, oh, what? I'm like, screw you guys, man. I got it's precious time, wasting my time. So bringing kids who have grown up on the newer generation consoles back to this older stuff, and there's no hints.
No,
there's bad clipping.
Yeah, it's not. It's a learning experience, like you said, because I've introduced my son into the SNES Classic with Super Mario World, and that is even tough. Like, it starts out pretty difficult. So even just getting a handle of Yoshi, he's never seen Yoshi before. He was like, "What? Who is this character?"
It's like, why is he punching his head, Daddy? Like,
yeah,
well, That's a topic of debate.
When I found that out, I mean, come on.
You think they would have like had that story ready to go as a family-friendly company, but nope. Good old slap upside the back of the head to get
knock in the head. Yeah.
Yeah, gee, it's one of those embarrassing. I can think of so few games that I truly beat from those generations. Like, I don't think I've ever beat Mario. Any of the Marios. Like, besides
really?
besides 64, I've never beat a Mario game.
I've beaten 1 and 2. Oh no, I've beaten all of them. Number 2, the one they're playing in this picture, that's probably I remember being that was easier than the other ones. And spoiler alert, the ending, he's dreaming. I mean, come on. I remember that angered me as a kid. I'm like, are you kidding me? It's all a dream. That's it.
That was a perfect out, though, because it was such a weird...
Oh, it was totally different.
Just out there, and the controls were off, like, quote-unquote off. Like, it was just like, you could float or double... Like, it was...
Floaty, yeah.
Man. But anyways, we are wildly off topic. This is fantastic. I mean, I think it's getting a kid into the current generation, having them enjoy it, but being able to walk them through what you gamed on and the stories and like the connection you get with the kids about it, just every bit about that is so awesome.
Yeah, it's sharing that bond again, right? It's a cool thing to do.
Absolutely. So, tip of the hat to the Gaming Dad Victory of the Week, going to Fallout Dad for a found appreciation for the current systems and a newfound appreciation for the old classics and introducing it to the daughter. So, congratulations.
Nice one.
If you'd like to be considered for the Gaming Dad Victory of the Week or know a dad who's deserving, please head on over to our website at newdadgaming.com and submit your story. So when we last left off, you had discovered a new reality. A reality not of this world, but of the virtual world. What is your life like? The best part is too, like, I think we're staring down the barrel of just geeking out on VR this week because it has been an incredibly exciting time. Yeah. I imagine you jumped into a bunch of the VR deals as I had. So, what I'm hoping is that with Christmas and the holidays past, I'm hoping we're having a bunch of dads out there who had been fortunate enough to receive or purchase themselves some VR sets. So I think it's apropos. But what is your life like in VR?
You know what? I walked into this VR world, and then
an innocent man.
I don't want to come out of it. And the whole the PSN deals that you mentioned, where there's 4 weeks of sales, was just the perfect time to experience a whole bunch of games at once and grow my backlog.
You know what is, so what I picture is the scene from Shawshank Redemption where he climbs out of the tube. And he's staring up at the sky as rain pours down on him, except the rain is like VR titles. And you got your goggles on, staring up into the sky, just like, yes, bring them all to me.
Pretty much like that. Yeah, no, it has been great. I got a couple gift cards for Christmas, and I went out and used those gift cards right away to buy the Move controllers.
Yeah, excellent.
So, and then I purchased my biggest purchase, I'll say, on that sale was Skyrim.
Oh, whoa, you went in for it.
I went in for it.
You are ahead of me now in VR. I haven't dived into that one yet.
Okay. Well, it was a tough choice. I was because I had enough to either get Super Hot and Eve Valkyrie, which I love Eve, the space sim, or I just jump in full-fledged and try Skyrim out.
That's like,
and
I'm surprised you're still standing. Like, that's 0 to 200. Like,
yeah, it is. And I've bought Skyrim many times, and there's always a conversation of, them rehashing Skyrim again. You have not lived until you see Skyrim in VR. I am 100% serious. Things are huge. Like, the first town, I think it was River Run, you go into, it's just, you're in the town. Things are around you. Butterflies are in your face. You see people chopping wood, and the wood is there in front of you. The wolves that attack you in the forest are terrifying. I'm like, just the sense, and you look up to the mountain and the moons at night, and it's just the sense of scale is beyond anything I've experienced in VR right now. So that has, like, the graphics themselves are dated. I will say that up front. It's not going to be a pretty picture, but once you're in there, you kind of just accept it. It's that suspension of disbelief. You're in this world. You're going to travel around, try and do some quests, probably a lot of side quests, and just live. And this is the best experience. I just played a couple hours before we got on doing the show, because it is just addictive. The bow and arrow with the move controllers is so intuitive. Like, I don't think I ever would have seen on, like, when they explain it on paper, I'm like, there's no way I'm going to get that. But with the controllers, it just works. So I'm just arrowing bunny rabbits in the distance and practicing my shot on fish and just doing that for not hours on end, but a long time.
I was wondering about that. Yeah, the tactile nature of it, as far as like the feel of the sword, the feel of the bow and arrow was of a special interest to me, because I just adore that is weaponry. So the thought to hear that it is that satisfying is exciting.
It's really nice. Like, it's good, and it because the move controllers vibrate too. Like, they have that vibration. It kind of gives you that when you notch the arrow and bring it back, it gives you that feel of the tension of the string. So, which is neat. Like, it's just a cool little thing. And even swinging the swords and doing, like, I had one hand with fire magic spraying some other guy, and my sword fighting off another Imperial coming at me. And just the sword vibrated every time I swung and hit him on the head, and my fire was going. It's just awesome. I totally recommend it. I don't know if I'd drop $80 on it, but when it was on sale for $49, I think, that was enough for me to bite the bullet and jump in. And it is a good one. I do recommend it. You gotta check it out.
It's kind of funny that it's almost weird that it took VR to make that jump with the move controllers, because they had them, and even if it was on a flat screen, the thought that, like, this move controller is this hand, this move controller is this hand, and you can swing the sword. Like, it's bizarre that there wasn't that connection before. You had the camera, you had the controllers. Like, why didn't?
Yeah.
Why is this only now starting to happen? Because even, let's say, in a non-VR version, why would they not enable that? Like that sounds fantastic.
I don't know why they didn't capitalize on it. Like, it just went the way of, like, the Kinect. It just kind of died off with PS3.
Pour one out for the poor Kinect.
Yeah, and came back, and I will say I won't go back to the controller, because I did play with the controller, and it feels okay. You do get a little bit more kind of that VR sickness happening. Some reason with the move controllers, you look where the camera's going and you move to where the camera's going, versus the controller where you're kind of strafing around. And it's just a neat experience that I didn't think would be that intuitive to use, but they've done a good job with that. Granted, you're not dancing around enemies like you were on a PC or with a keyboard or anything, but it works.
Yeah. Hold on. So I guess, like, the so that's the teleportation option you went for?
No. You can do either. You can do the teleportation with the move controllers, or you can do full movement. So you just point the control, like, you move the controller slightly forward, you go forward. You move the move controller backward, you go backward. And then you strafe left and right by just kind of waving the wand around a little bit.
So how's that feel when you're switching between? So you're moving the things all around to actually do the movement, but then it comes time to swing the sword. Like, how's that switch feel?
It's at first it was a little bit awkward, because you have to press a different button to get your weapons out, and the movement requires one of the triggers to be held down. So you can still do it. It's just now you have two fingers that are kind of in the. They have to press different buttons, and if you don't know where the buttons are on the move controller at first, it's kind of difficult. But then once you get to know it, it's just second nature. I think it's almost like learning how to wield a sword and move around. You're like, this is my sword now, and this is what I got to do with it.
I'm sure it's very comparable.
Yeah, I can go there right now, conquer Skyrim.
So the one thing we have to hear is, it sounds like you've had enough playtime to encounter the first dragon.
Yes.
So what's your first VR dragon like?
It is, again, big. Scale is big, and They're freaky little things. Like it is
a lot
neat.
Scarier than flat, huh?
It's just terrifying because the way they're so close on the flat screen. Like you kind of like aim up your arrow. You're like, I could shoot it out of the sky. But when you're in VR, they're high and they're fast and they move really quickly, and they're big when they land. So it's a cool experience. There are the Skyrim glitches, which are hilarious in VR. They're even more so hilarious when things just kind of, go a little bit crazy and fly and spin out into the sky or something. But it's neat. Even the world map, you hover above it, so you see the world below you, which is just a cool thing. And the skill tree is all in space, where you push and pull into the constellations to upgrade your stuff. It's a really neat. Totally recommend. So I've been involved with that. That's like my baby right now. I've done all the other demos, but Skyrim's held my attention.
Just like, man, right in it. So it's funny how fine it is, in the sense that, hey, this company's re-releasing this
I
game.
know.
And I think much like you, like I think I've bought it twice now.
Yeah.
And some people many more times, and here it is again. But it's such like, we bought it so many times before because the game was so engrossing and so well done, and then they've now just added this a whole other layer of being able to be immersed in it, that it's like, okay, more money. It's kind of like a
this
DLC.
Is what's gonna happen. I'm serious. It's just an odd feeling, and I guess part of it is maybe a little bit of nostalgia of being in that world, and now you're kind of experiencing it in a different light. And I've never actually finished it, so
yeah, 300 plus hours, never actually finished it.
I do all the side quests.
So I had I've been noticing a trend online where a lot of people are coming out saying that now being in VR has turned them into jerks in Skyrim, because they so badly want to grab baskets and put them on heads and like throw cabbages.
Yeah, totally. As long as you don't hurt the chickens, anything's fair game. Like, it makes you more of a thief too, right? Because like when somebody's downstairs, you're upstairs in their house, you're like, well, no one's around, I'm just gonna take this cheese, right? Like, it's just a total, like, you feel like you're there and you're like, I could totally get this. I'm done, I'm good. And then you take the pots and put it on their heads, or leave them all around and make their place a mess. It's hilarious. I love it.
I'm trying to think. So Fallout was going to get the same treatment, although it's not yet confirmed for PlayStation, and it kind of seems like it's not coming. I think there's just some limitations.
Yeah.
With the graphical power, like you need one of those huge PC rigs.
Yeah.
Man,
which I could see. I could see that, but
you appreciate it. Like I still really hold out for Elite Dangerous.
Oh man, that would be good.
Because that's like Eve, but just like that persistent, massive world and being able to fly things around, like.
Yeah.
So, but if anything, like if it's shown that it can be done, it's given a taste for it. Like, I'd be curious. I'd assume it's been a massive success. I haven't seen any.
Well, they bundled it, and a lot of those bundles went. So I don't know. Like, it seems like it could be a success for them, at least just re-releasing it again. But
yeah, not like it cost them. No, but it seems like they did really honest by it. As far as like it wasn't just a slapdash approach. It sounds like they've done a lot of really innovative things to.
Yeah, I think they have. Like, just even for the menu system to work properly, would be a huge undertaking. Whether you have the DualShock or the Move controllers, and they both seem fine. So they have done some work there for sure, and that would be annoying if it didn't work properly. You're always in the menus, or reading a book, right? You turn the pages with the Move controller. Even that is just a cool feature.
It's like you can just imagine if they launched without that. It's like, come on, like that's VR. That's VR 101. Like that's like such an old trick.
Yeah.
That was actually. I thought that was such a cute thing in the Moss demo. So the tiny mouse Moss demo, when you first launch into it, you're in this beautiful looking library. The rendering on it is gorgeous, but the story itself seems to be a book, and then you actually like lift open the book and like turn pages to get the story started. Kind of a cliche, but like when it's in VR, it's a much more enjoyable cliche.
Yeah, for sure.
You can do any cliche in VR and it doesn't matter.
It doesn't matter. It's cool.
So any other things of note for VR besides like Skyrim? Because obviously you mentioned you went through all the demo disc. Did you have any other games, or was it really focused on? Because Skyrim's obviously pretty meaty.
Yeah, it's a pretty big game, but I did play Until Dawn, because that was PS Plus, the Rush of Blood one.
Oh yeah.
That is so much better with the Move controllers over the DualShock. The DualShock just doesn't do it justice. I find that having the different arms for the different guns is way better.
Have you like how are you handling it? Like I find it terrifying because it's just like,
oh my god,
it's a sense of space. Like what gets me is that it's not so much that there's screen on the right. It's that there's voluminous space on the right where things can be. Yeah. And they've done such a great job with the sound that you're hearing these creaking slightly behind you. Yep. And you could just feel the weight of all the space on the right, the left, where things could be. It's just like, oh man.
No, it's it's got some good scares in it, and I think I've only done 2 of the levels, and I don't know how many there are, maybe 5 or 6, but I did have my brother try it out, and that was one of the first games that he tried, and I've got video of that. That's hilarious.
So
yeah, other than that, I'm pretty much spent. Like everything else has been demos, but I'll get there.
So it'll be interesting. So this, I don't know if it's if it's a trend that continues throughout the whole year. That is incredibly exciting. But it seems that with PS Plus, they seem to be throwing in one PSVR game every time,
which is great.
Yeah. So this week it's Starblood Arena.
Yes. Right.
So this is a space. Player versus player shooty deathmatch, so very much in like it's been compared to Quake as far as like its pacing, except done in VR. You're all different spaceships flying around. Looks really interesting. High praise on any of the forums or any place else that they have these conversations about it. So that's really exciting to see. And the developer came online. He was talking about how they were so excited to be included in that.
That's cool.
So I mean, these PlayStation's really pushing it. I think it's probably really becoming a differentiator for them.
Yeah, I think it's a good time to jump in too, right? Because now you get a lot of these games have come down in price. They're being included with PS Plus, and there's a lot more variety out there. Like everything is coming out. They've got, I don't know how many games they have mentioned this year, like 40 games on tap or something. It just seems like it's a great time. They will upgrade it at some point, but I wouldn't expect it this generation. I would say PS5 or whatever the next iteration is.
Yeah, so I think so speaking of some of those games, I mean, I kind of went against my pledge to not buy anything more until I'm finished.
It didn't take long.
So what did it for me was, 2 of them. So there was Accounting Plus.
Oh, yeah.
So from the creators of Rick and Morty is this just off the wall. It's just like, if you've ever seen an episode of Rick and Morty, it is that, but in your face in VR, and it's just like, it is so off the wall. I'll say it had one of the creepiest experiences I've ever had.
Really?
Oh, I was, I got out of the room, like I wanted to kind of stay and listen to the dialogue, but you go into this one room and there's this like massive character who's also wearing a VR headset, but between how they rendered him and his voice and the stuff he was saying, like it was incredibly off-putting. Like I was not comfortable at all. Oh man, but they're just the humor and like just the dialogue's the funniest part, of course. Yeah, and there's so much of it. Like I thought I could probably sit in the room until I could get some of the characters to repeat. Like, like go through their entire dialogue tree. But I left because like it was taking too much time. They just kept talking. There's just so much of it.
That's awesome.
all done in the Rick and Morty stuff. So it's a pretty tight experience. I think I picked it up for like $10. Yeah. And I think it's the type of thing you could show. It could definitely become like a party game to the right crowd. You can't. Don't want to show this to your mom. But for friends that come over, or anyone's kind of like a bit of a fan of the show, like they're going to just lose their mind. It is a riot. And the other one was Ultra Wings.
Oh yes, that was another one I was considering.
Yeah, between the descriptions and the rave reviews and everything I saw about it, it's just something so compelling to me. And as an experience, it's just phenomenal, right? Because it's so calm and chill, and you have so much control. It feels, as far as like when you actually kind of grab the controller. Well, the cool thing about it, so Ultra Wings, it's a virtual reality flight simulator. It has kind of two settings. Like one's kind of arcadey, the other one's like full on simulation. If you care for that, I haven't tried the simulation yet. I've just been having a good time.
Yeah.
So you get into this, you pilot. It has like, I think there's like 4 or 5 islands, and you're just zipping around doing missions like fly through hoops, like shoot balloons, get upgrades, get new planes. But in some ways, it's unnecessary stuff that they do that makes it so much a better experience. When you get into the plane, you have to do all the little checks to get the plane to take off. So you have to turn on. So you have to grab and turn the fuel to turn it on.
Right.
Then you come over and you disengage the lock on your wheels, and then you push to start.
Oh, nice. Yeah.
And then you grab the throttle, and like physically, as if there's like a throttle beside you, and you have to push it and shove it up. So it's not digital in the sense that, like, this is if you have the Move controller. So it's not digital in the sense where you have to, like, tap X 3 times to go faster.
Right.
Like there's a physical throttle.
That's good. I like that, as it's like it creates that virtual reality sense, right? Like you're in there pushing buttons and.
Oh man! And then the same thing with the joystick, like the man, what do they call it? The yaw. Anyway, the joystick. I think, like, I'm trying to think. There's an actual word for it, but the joystick to control the plane.
Yep.
You grab it like the Move controller. Like you have the 2 hands, and then you go out and you actually physically grab it, so that you're in front of you, moving your hand forward, back, left, and right.
Oh yeah.
To move that stick.
That's
and
perfect.
It feels perfect. Like they must have developed this thing to death to get it to feel like you pull back to lift up, and that is how the plane goes. Like it reacts exactly as you expect it to.
That's amazing.
In just about the most responsive way I think I've ever had in VR. Like it is astounding, and like it's just so chill. Like it's just you kind of get up. It's relatively easy to take off. So I'm sure in simulator mode it's like infinitely harder.
Yeah.
But in arcade mode, which thank God I'm telling you, these devs are getting better. I swear, it's like, you know what? You want to get in here and you want to have a good time.
Exactly. Sandbox mode, please. Just
here you go, buddy. Like here's some clouds, a couple boats. You're just gonna float around. Don't even worry about it. Yeah. So you do a bunch of missions. You get some more money. You can buy more islands, planes, like a whole bunch of stuff. Like It was an excellent purchase, and I think this is going to be one of like the party games.
Nice.
I'm so excited to get my wife to try it, because again, like the feeling it is so intuitive to grab the control stick and just pull back to fly up and go left and right, that it's very much pick up and play, that I think you could put anybody in it, and that's the ultimate experience. Like you're flying.
Yeah. No, and when I saw that game, I thought of Pilot Wings. Yep. So I'm like, even that, it's just in VR. That sounds amazing.
That's what it is. Like the one mode, I haven't gotten it yet, but like you fly through rings and you have to take a gun out, like a physical gun, and you're aiming it at balloons and shooting it. And then and the landing, like, and then the sense of accomplishment you get when you land properly.
Oh yeah, how does that go? I'm sure that. Well,
pretty in arcade mode, it's pretty straightforward. I had a couple dicey ones because I got a little bit arrogant in my approach. But it feels, it's tough enough to be rewarding, but also just a blast. And also say, I obviously tried to like just do a nosedive, and that's kind of terrifying. See water rushing up at you.
How is have you ever gone, like, does it allow you to go upside down? How's that in VR? Like when you're just flying. Like the horizon is totally different.
Haven't tried. See, I wonder if they let you do that in simulator. I haven't.
I don't know.
I've kind of jammed the sticks left and right all the way, and it didn't really completely peak me over. So I wonder if it's a limitation. I'll have to try it in simulator.
It's gotta limit you. Can you imagine? Your eyes wouldn't be able to process it. Like, no, wait, my head's the wrong. I don't understand.
I don't think they can do it. It's funny because they have these modes where your starter plane is kind of this ultralight, very basic type of airplane, and there's nothing to it. There's a frame that you sit inside of, but this mode will block out all but 2 panes that you're directly looking at to try to help you with your motion sickness.
Oh, okay, yeah.
So you have, it's like literal blinders. So like you're looking straight, and let's say there's like 2 areas of cage, you can see through it. You look to your right. When it's in periphery, it's black. And then you look at it, and it kind of goes away, and then it shows you it, just so that you're never getting like too.
Yeah.
I turned it off. I didn't like it. Like I found it really distracting.
You're a pro already.
Well, I had a couple queasy moments actually. Like I was doing some swoops, and just you get that kind of like gut feeling, like, oh, okay, wait a minute.
It's the butterflies in the stomach. I've had that a couple times.
Oh yeah, but that's actually kind of the best. Like with Rush of Blood that we were just talking about on some of the roller coaster drops.
Yeah.
Oh my, like
even just the first one that you're following the guy, and then all of a sudden it drops off, like he disappears, and you go the other way. And you're like, whoa.
Yeah, you feel it.
This is how it is, yeah.
Oh, so that was those. I mean, like, so I'd like to think now I can.
Moss is coming out this year. What are you gonna do? You're not gonna buy that one?
I have to finish. I just need to get through a bunch of things, and it doesn't help that I'm returning to old habits. So I think we're kind of approaching the end, but I'll just throw in some non-VR content, specifically. So Street Fighter.
Oh, Street Fighter. See, I had you pinned at Destiny 2.
I've kind of fallen off that one.
Oh, no.
It's just like, no ill will. Like I had an excellent time with it. I only ever built one character. So there's the 3 main classes. Generally people kind of build up to 3 people. Yeah. I haven't experienced the other 2, but I think what's good, I feel great about it. Like I had a great experience. Yeah. I can definitely just jump right in and go into it if I want to. And I think I'll be compelled to later this year to like complete the other 2 characters. Or maybe they'll do some kind of cool event and I'll hop in. But yeah, no, it's...
You're done with it. You retired on top kind of thing.
Retired slightly above the bottom, sure. Oh, but to kind of follow up on a previous story, so I'd mentioned, it might have even been last episode, or 2 episodes ago, that the math was done and showed that if in Street Fighter, if you'd gone through all the modes with all the characters, done all the trials, you could get enough money to buy everybody, right? Buy all the extra characters. So you didn't have to spend any money. So they're getting rid of that.
Oh, no. They found you out. See, they've been listening, and they said, you know what? Trevor's right.
So wait a minute. Hold on. Let's do oh, no, the calculations are wrong. Somebody slipped in an extra 0. Get it out.
Shut it.
Patch it. Yeah, so as of middle of January, and I think it coincides with the release of the new arcade version, which everybody gets for free, which includes a bunch of new modes and all these other interesting things, but they're getting rid of all these other ways to get fight money, which allows you to buy characters. So what that game has now become to me is grind the hell out of it before the 16th so I can amass enough to buy characters.
Yep.
And it's worth, I think I've bought 4 so far.
Okay, how many more do you have to go?
So, geez.
Like 7? We're talking like a dozen?
They released 6, they had 12. So, and I have 4, so 8. I got 8 characters.
8 more.
Jeez, that's a lot of grinding. And the best part is 2, and then it's funny because I almost felt, it's not guilt. I guess the thing, I would almost call it guilt. Here's the thing. I've enjoyed this thing immensely. They've really engaged the community between Capcom Cup and all these other events and everything else. Their communication with people has been great. And they got to keep the lights on, So when it comes to the 3rd season, I have this almost weird compulsion to actually just buy it.
Oh yeah. Even after they're taking out the grinding, they're just taking that out, and you're like,
I don't know. Well, partly because I don't know that I can. I have enough time to possibly grind all of it. If I was really good at this game, it's probably very easy, but I'm not, so it's going to take some time, and I don't have that type of time. So it's partly a convenience thing, but it's also just in recognition of the amount of enjoyment I've got from it, the continued enjoyment that I feel like I'm going to keep getting from it, the thought that they've treated the community so well. They're not being egregious or deceptive in their pricing. It's not like they've been, and this expansion, which you have to play the game, costs $80. It's like you definitely don't need these, but these are some interesting characters, and if you want them, it's like $20 or $30.
Right.
It's like, you know what? Like, this relationship has been very good. Let
me invest in it.
Yeah, it's kind of like when you bought the expansion for Horizon Zero Dawn. Besides the compulsion to have more content that you had, like putting that aside, like that felt good for you, right?
It did, yeah.
Right, because you looked at that dev and you're like, you know what, I'm happy to give you more money.
Yeah,
because of how this is going.
That's a good feeling too. It's not like I need this to complete the game necessarily. It's more like, you know what, you made something good. I want to support it, and here's the future. Let's do it. Yeah. So I can see where you're coming from. Like, you've had a good time with it. You kind of want to support them as a company.
Yeah, so let's go for it. I think the angle would be to see if I can grind out almost all the characters of Season 2 and then just purchase the Season 3 characters for... Because the thing is, too, like, there's some pretty sweet characters. There's the Bloody Roar guy. There's Blanca. There's Sagat. I mean, come on. Like, that's...
Yeah, those are... Yeah. Sagat and Blanca are originals, so...
Yeah. If I ever happen to have another dad who's going to play it with me, you have to have some recognizable faces. And then, the inevitable Street Fighter VR experience. And
oh, can you imagine that?
You have to actually punch people.
Yeah. I'm being electrocuted by Blanca. Oh my god.
He actually did LA Noire for VR come to PSVR?
No, I don't think it did. Not yet. I think it's on the Vive or whatever.
Because the GIF I keep seeing is like, so the guy gets in a fist fight, so you apparently punch, like you actually, like your fists are connected, some sort of like fighting element to it, and your fists are connected to the two move controllers, so you're actually like physically punching.
Oh, really?
Yeah, so like, this is kind of like boxing. This is boxing simulator in it.
Well, and that being said, one of the games coming out this year is like a punch out. Like a super punch out.
Yes. Again, you want to talk party game? Like that is.
Yeah, right?
It's
That'd
like
be so fun.
It's Wii boxing on steroids. Like that is. Well, it would just be the next level.
I really hope it's like couch co-op too. So someone's on the screen playing against you in VR. That would be fun. Like that's 2-player right there. Give it to me. Perfect. I'll fight the kids any day virtually.
This whole year is going to be you and I
I'm with you.
Not to go bankrupt.
You know what? Like I've bided my time for a year, and now's my time.
Jeff VR, it's happening.
yeah.
Oh, it's an exciting year, but we're gonna have to do our best to not just geek out on VR every week, but it is going to be hard to avoid because it is an incredible place to be at this point.
Yeah, for sure.
Like I said, I think we'll make sure we don't talk about too much about next episode, so get some balance.
Well, there's a bunch of other games coming out that I'm totally interested in, so it's not all VR. Like, we still have God of War 3 and Red Dead and a bunch of other games I'm still trying to complete.
Yeah. Oh, man, Shadow of the Colossus is coming out.
Yeah, man.
Well, not for you, for me.
VR.
Oh, okay, that would be pretty sick, but we can't.
It would be
this.
pretty, like, right? But yes, no, as a game that is one of my top games of all time, Shadow of the Colossus. So I'm sure it's a remake, right? Not remaster, remake.
Correct.
So they've like redone totally different things with it. The landscapes look amazing. Like it's one that I again might bite the bullet on and purchase, but we'll see. But it's a really great game. If you haven't played it, watch for it. It's February, right? I think it's in there
since PS2 I've wanted to play it, and I've never connected, so I'm incredibly excited for that one.
So good.
Okay, but I think that's a whole nother episode. I think we'll get into upcoming games and our excitement, our dad level excitements for it. But
it's high.
Yeah. Here's a teaser, very high. We're very easily excited. But that will wrap it up for us this week. Everybody, thank you so much for listening. This has been New Dad Gaming. If you'd like to reach out to us, you can find us at our website at newdadgaming.com. We're also on all of the social networks. If you'd like to speak with us, you can. If you have any show ideas, questions, stories, if you'd like to submit you yourself or someone you know as for Gaming Dad Victory of the Week, we would love to hear it. For this podcast, you can subscribe to it on iTunes, Google Play, and any other place you find your podcasts. And we would very much appreciate a subscription, a like, and a pass along to a new dad who games, with a VR set or not. Non-discriminatory. Until next week, my name is Trevor, and I have a 2-year-old and a 3-month-old.
And I'm Jeff. I have a 7-year-old and a 4-year-old.
We'll see you next week.
See ya.